Rolling.
Oh.
Well,
What?
update video.
What?
Table 7 update video.
Clear your throat.
Table for 7 update video. Table for 7 update video 2020 tape.
We didn't say that.
Okay. What's good, fam?
Hey guys. How you living?
So you got.
Whoa.
All right. So welcome to 2020. The circus that it is. We haven't done anything this year on the vlog for a number of reasons. Some of them we'll get into on this particular video. But we felt it was time to say what's up.
Hi. How y'all living?
Do you miss it?
I do. I kind of miss it. Not kind of. I actually do miss it. However, my brain is stretched in a bunch of different directions at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, so there's a lot going on. State of the world, uncertainty in general. A lot has happened for us over the last
3 months.
Yeah, the last few months. I was gonna say the last year. So I don't know where you're coming into our story, but we live in Texas now. We're in the Grand Prairie area. They
right
call
outside
it,
of Dallas.
Yeah, right outside of Dallas. The DFW is probably the more popular term that they would call it. That's the metro, what they call the metro. We've been here for we've been back 2.5 years now, because we came back March. It was August, right? So 2 years.
So we've been here.
Yeah, I've been here 2 years and a few months.
Right.
Y'all have been here just
July.
about 2 years.
Yeah.
So we transitioned back from overseas life in the UAE. We were in Dubai for 3 years with my job. Been with that job for almost 11 years now. So it's afforded me opportunities to travel. That particular opportunity was a long-term assignment, clearly 3 years, and was able to take the family. So that was a good thing. That ran its course, and then we came back to the U.S. and I chose to come back to Texas. So we're from Virginia, 757 to be specific, but my job has an office in Texas in Fort Worth. And
Had an office.
No, I mean, obviously, nobody's. There's a few
Nobody's
people there.
there.
There's a few people there. Most of us are working remotely though. But we chose Texas. Cost of living, your dollar goes a lot further. You get a lot more house, and just the pace of life made more sense for us as we transitioned back. So before going to UAE, we were in the DC area for 5 years, and that for me ran its course.
Sure.
How you feel about it?
Yeah.
Would you go back?
No, never. Ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
I have no intentions of going back. It's hard to say never. It
But
would
that
have
was
to
like
be
your
something.
goal place though, when we were growing up. Like,
yeah.
that
To
was
live
your
in
goal.
DC. Actually, I wanted to live in Atlanta. I wanted to go to school. I wanted to go to Morehouse initially, but later in life, I wanted to go to school in DC. I wanted to do the JD NBA JD program at University of Maryland, because I wanted to be a lawyer. Still kind of do. That ship is sailed. Anyhow, lived in DC. We have no plans of going back. It would have to be something very interesting or a life event beyond our control that would take us back to the East Coast. Our families are there. We're from there, but we're in Texas.
Yeah.
So we moved here in 2018, rented for a couple of years, and as our lease was expiring this year, we decided to buy a house.
Yep.
In the middle of COVID.
That's fine.
Yeah, so that was, I can say it got interesting. It wasn't as stressful as some other stories that I've heard.
Was amazing.
Or read about, but just with everything that was going on, it made it a little bit more challenging. We hadn't bought a house in
2 years?
No, 13.
How old is he, Monty? 14. 13.
Well, 15 years. The last house we bought was in 2005. No, 2006. We got married in 2005.
She was born in 2005, so 14 years.
Yeah, well, I bought a house in 2005. We got married, sold that house in 2006, bought another house in 2006, all of this was in the same general area, within 5-10 miles in the same place we were from. So we hadn't done it since then, but everything changed. Going to see houses. It wasn't going to see the houses wasn't a challenging part. By the time we got to closing, everything was being done remote. So we actually closed at the house that we were living in. So they sent a notary, a mobile notary to the house.
Yeah.
We never saw the title company. Everything was handled electronically, except for signing the final papers, of course. But loan process had morphed since the last time we bought it. The one thing that I noticed that was really different was they called several times to verify my income. Like, are you still employed? Is your employment going to change?
And that was because of
and it started to make sense because of COVID, but it was just weird because I don't remember that being part of the process. But as I started paying attention to the stories, that people put online, on other vlogs and whatnot, they would get to closing and their loans wouldn't fund. So you can go to the closing table, sign all your papers, and then the final step is the bank or your lending institution funding the loan, and some of those weren't happening. So depending on what industry you're in, as COVID progressed and industries were impacted, they were deeming those people
risky.
A higher risk. But it wouldn't give them the loan. So all in all, we had a good process.
And we used the VA loan, so that process was completely different than our last process as well.
We had never used VA loan before. Keisha's a veteran.
Yeah.
So it was perfect time to use that. Ultimately, we got a good rate, locked it in, and we moved. I think we moved in a little too quick.
I agree. I agree with you.
Because we had a lot of time. We closed April 20th. We had to be out of our rental house by May 31st. Yeah. So we had quite a bit of time, but by April 25th,
you had already moved. You were just
by April 25th, I was trying to sleep here. In hindsight, that was a little premature because we moved in and then we started doing stuff to the house. So we moved in, unpacked,
and then wanted to do the kitchen.
Yeah, and then wanted to do the kitchen, so we had to Keisha.
That was tinted for like 4 days.
Repack the stuff so we get the kitchen cabinets painted. We
could not get in there at all.
Yeah, so
no stove, no fridge, nothing.
Bought the fridge, put it in there, then did the work, had the whole kitchen taped off. We're living in here. They're painting while we're living in here. It just wasn't.
That makes sense.
It wasn't the most well thought out thing. And then before the kitchen got painted, I pressed to have the closet redone. So we put a down payment on the closet. We paid 25% of the closet to get that done, and we still haven't scheduled it.
And I hadn't had all my stuff in the closet for her to do an accurate assessment of.
Yeah, that's not a thing.
That is a thing.
That's not what I'm talking about, though.
But I literally had like one. So his stuff was all unpacked in the closet.
No, I still got 2 bags in there. But it's fine. I got space. You got space. It'll be space. But the point is, we could have had stuff done before we moved in. Now we've moved in. We got to move out of the closet. It's a pretty decent size closet. So we got to move out of there. We actually got to tear the stuff out because we were trying to save money.
Wall, right? I think.
Yeah, we got to prep. Yeah. So it was $300 or $400 that we knocked off the price. We were just negotiating, and they started throwing in a couple of free things, but so we got to do that. So we got to take the clothes out, put them somewhere, which is probably going to be in our bedroom, which is still not all the way together. It's very close, and we just put more furniture in the bedroom, so it's going to be even more cluttered. It's going to be cluttered when we bring the clothes. It's going to be a mess. The good thing is y'all get to see it if we pick up the camera, which is a whole nother story. How do we get? I don't know. All of that was the intro, but hey, what's good, family? There's a lot going on. Life is, all things considered, we're doing well. COVID has impacted our families on both sides, and
Very
yeah,
severely.
I've seen a loss on my side, and on Keisha's side, very close proximity. Was in the hospital dealing with COVID. We'll let that story. We'll talk more about that once that individual is comfortable talking about that, because we want to make sure that individual can participate in that story, and
It's their story to tell.
that person. You see how I'm using that person.
Mm-hmm.
Neutral. That person is also starting to get some of their thoughts out on video, and we don't want to tell the story before that person has an opportunity to tell it, if they want it told.
Mm-hmm.
So, thankfully, COVID hasn't cracked the entrance of. That's not what I was trying to say.
I don't know
What's the word?
I don't know.
Crack the.
Reach the cusp.
Crack the
The seal. Crack the what? Foundation.
What cracks? COVID is not in our house. COVID hasn't been in our house.
No, not in our home.
We've been following the protocol ever since. Texas is if you're following the news,
terrible.
Has been one of the
most terrible.
Yeah, one of the more or one of the less impressive states in terms of reaction or containing or following any kind of issuing and following any kind of protocol. Our area is doing okay right now. Houston, not so.
Yeah,
I haven't checked in this week,
the
but yeah, Houston was kind of crazy for the last couple of weeks. But it's just amazing how people treat it, right? And there are a couple extremes, and then there's some people that are just don't, the kind of neutral to it. But it's a real thing. I don't know whatever story you want to believe as to how it got here.
Doesn't matter, it's here.
It's here, like we said, it's hit our family. In the industry that I'm in deals with government contracts and state contracts, and we've supported some of the COVID response in states that are being, where hospitals are being overrun. So it's a real thing, and we're taking it serious. I guess that kind of leads into what's happening with school.
Wow, school. So at this point, we have all 5 of our kids in school, and they offered an in-person option and a virtual academy option, which we chose to take the virtual academy, of course. Excuse me, all this throat clearing I'm doing. And whatever choice you make, you have to continue with that choice throughout the entire semester, which for us ends in December, but they don't go back to school till January. So from this Wednesday coming up until January, our kids will be virtually schooled probably until the end of the school year, if I'm being completely honest.
Right. So we jumping back to our time overseas, the oldest 3 were the only ones in school at that time, and they were in homeschool intentionally.
Yeah.
So we use Abeka? Yeah, Abeka Academy.
It's a Christian-led.
Yeah, Christian curriculum from the U.S. and Keisha was their teacher. Right. But it was a program by design.
Right.
I am concerned about how prepared the schools are, because they finished the year virtually, but the reality is they were just kind of dialing it in.
Yeah.
They emailed some assignments, they have them in by Friday. The kids had the option to join a Zoom or a go-to meeting or something like that, a Microsoft Teams meeting.
So they can see their classmates
if they needed to, but it wasn't a requirement. And I get it, because it wasn't. They were reacting. The school systems were reacting to it. It wasn't by design. So I'm hoping that this summer that they've taken some of the. I'm hoping they didn't try to recreate the homeschool learning model, right? Because there are other models that exist. We use the Becca. There's K-12.
Ingenuity or something.
There's another one for public schools that you can do online. So the programs exist, and I'm hoping that they adopted, some of how those programs are structured in order to educate the kids this year. So it'll be interesting. The younger ones, at least, we know. So let's talk. I mean, 5 kids: kindergartner, second grader, 8th grader, 9th grader, and a senior in high school. So the 8th grader, the second grader, and the kindergartner, they have specific times they have to check in, right?
Yeah, I believe the girls will as well,
Yeah.
but there's just more block scheduling, so I don't know if there's a specific time during their blocks. Like Monday is 1 and 5, and Tuesday is 2 and whatever.
Right.
Like
We haven't seen their schedules yet.
Yeah,
They start
theirs is Monday.
in 4 days.
Right.
We haven't seen their schedule, so I guess we get it Monday or Tuesday.
Well, their counselors are struggling at this point. We
Yeah.
got an email saying their counselors were trying to figure all the things out because initially children who were doing virtual academy were not able to participate in certain electives and things like that, and there was an uproar kind of thing, like, you know, they were getting emails from parents. So they're trying to figure out a way. That's why we got the email from the choir teacher to ask if she's actually going to be coming to choir in person, which to me is insane. Like, that's the worst class for you to go to. You have to take your mask off and sing out loud and spit and anyway. Or if they're going to be doing these electives and things virtually. So there's that.
But the check-in part was one of my major concerns, because I want there to be structure. The way they finished the school year
was not structured.
Honestly, our kids were so off schedule. The older ones were literally waking up at 5 p.m.
turning in their work,
doing their schoolwork, being up all through the night, and then going to sleep in the morning again, which initially worked for me because I'm working from home, so it'd be quiet and I can have my meetings and all that. But it's just not. There was no structure to it, and again, they didn't have to check in. They just had to make sure work was in at certain times. So I do like that they have to check in. It's going to be interesting for our oldest son, that's the 8th grader, making sure that he actually checks in every class, because it's going to be 5 classes going, right? And I'm working, so, you know, I'll be trying to adjust my schedule and tip in as I can, but like, I have significant responsibilities at work, you know, responsible for a great deal of people. So it's hard for me to just be available all day, which I don't like. But
I'm most concerned with the youngest too. Like, we did a car chat earlier today, so I don't know in what order all this is gonna go, but I'm most concerned with Eli, especially because it's his very first year in school, and I definitely don't want him to start off behind. Like, I don't want him to fail on my watch. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So it's important for me to be able to be present during his teacher times, which is him and Eden both have to check in, have face-to-face time with their teachers at 3 separate points throughout the day, which is great. But trying to be physically present for both of their sessions of classes with their teachers without them interrupting each other is going to be interesting.
Yeah. But I would say homeschool is almost as normal to him as regular school, because he saw them in homeschool when we were overseas. Then they did a year traditional, and then the last half of the last 3-4 months of this year was back at home. So he gets it, you know, just like most younger kids that have older siblings, he tries to mimic what they're doing. And, you know, he's excited about school. He's very, very intelligent. I know most parents say that about their kids. But I'm not sure what he's going to learn new this year, especially with the virtual that he hasn't already been exposed to, which I guess is fine. You know, he's 5. He has a late birthday, so he'll be 6 in December, so he'll be a little bit older. Imani had the same thing. So her first, second, and third grade aren't really
she was
challenging.
Helping teach the classes for those years.
Wasn't really challenging, but yeah. So, you know, comment, like, what do y'all think about? I don't know. It's kind of a touchy topic. I'm not asking for the sake of argument, but just, you know, what are your thoughts? What are some of your concerns about, you know, going back to school, the environment? You know, what are they doing where you live? You know, our folks in Virginia, you know, what's happening there? You know, when we were putting out videos, you know, the analytics said we had people watching from all across the world, really. So
Yeah.
let us know what's happening with where you are, what some of your concerns are. You sending your kids back if you have the option. I don't know, man. I don't know what else can happen in 2020. I saw, I don't know if it was a meme or I was watching the interview or something. But they were saying that in a couple years, 2020 is going to be an adjective for all things bad, right?
Yeah.
Or that's so 2020.
Right.
Like, that's 2020, man. And I can see it. It's weird to be in this moment, knowing that it's going to be a pivotal point in history. But what do you do?
I don't know. What do you do about it?
I don't know. What else? What else is going on with us?
Setting up their classroom. I just got started with that. That's very exciting.
Yeah.
Slightly, but not really. I'm trying to make it as normal as possible for the littler ones because I feel like they'll be the most impacted. Like the older kids, this is old hat for them. They're used to it. But Eden definitely affected by not being able to see her friends. She's also in Girl Scouts, so I did definitely re-sign her up for Girl Scouts so that she can have some sort of, Zoom video with other little people her age. So
that's what it was. You talked about the car chat earlier. We were in the car for 4 hours,
honey,
earlier today,
and didn't get home with not nary a device.
Yeah. So the older kids got their devices. That seemed to be a smooth to pick up.
It was 3 hours. No, 3 hours. Sis.
To get the older ones?
Yes, 3 hours. I know he's my sis, but that's my thing.
Yeah.
3 hours.
So
slightly under, like right up under 3 hours.
So by device we talk, I think it's going to be an iPad that they get. Donovan got an iPad. It seems like it seems like high schoolers are getting Chromebooks, and then everybody else is getting iPads. And they had them last year. Well, they all had iPads last year except for Eden.
Imani didn't get one. They didn't issue, like they started issuing with the 7th graders.
Oh yeah.
Didn't make it to the 8th graders. Child.
Yeah. So so we were in this line trying to get the devices, but it was open for the entire district to get the devices from one location on the same day. So Keisha went earlier in the morning, sat there for an hour or so, and peeled out because it was taking too long. She thought she was going to run out of gas.
Yeah. I could have said that's what you're trying to say. I was watching. Listen, I didn't want to have to call you and be like, "Hey, can you bring a gas can?"
We had more than half a tank when I got in the car to go.
Right, but it was almost full when I got in the car. It was almost full. It was like 3/4 of a tank, sir.
Well, here's the thing. We filled it up.
And it didn't do the same thing.
That was kind of my point. We filled it up, and it didn't even burn 1/8 of a tank, and we had the AC off. Anyhow.
And I didn't even have the AC on. I had my windows down. Anyway.
We went back. We tried round 2. Sat there for 4 hours. I thought we were getting close. When Keisha woke up and was like, "Nah, we're getting close to where we got to turn and then go down some more
to do the same exact length
so we just
of road."
Kind of pulled out. We were sitting there. I was like, "Man, I'll just buy something." Really, or if they can't get it issued late, we do have laptops here, and I would almost rather the younger ones have a laptop than to have an iPad, so that there's a difference between what they're doing, because they're pretty savvy on the iPod and Kindles they have now, but I would rather them have more of a set up laptop. So we might order another laptop if we can't get the device before school starts. But
one more Monday.
That was a lot. God bless everybody that stayed out there. It was from 8 to 3 when we went back. We went back at 12. We pulled off about 4:30. We probably got there about 12:15, 12:30. We pulled off about 4:30 and just decided to get something to eat and come home. And the line was still probably an hour and a half, 2 hours before they got there. So I don't even know if they kept the thing open to give everybody stuff today, but
listen.
God bless the people that were handing the stuff out and the people that stayed in line
with their masks on all day, and it was hot today.
Yeah, y'all about that life. We were only part-time about that life today.
Yeah.
So we got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to catch up on. Hopefully the storyline is going to be more consistent. And I said I wasn't going to say that. Every time we come back, we're like, we're back. We're gonna do it this time. We're gonna be consistent. Like, this is our life, man. We appreciate.
Have a full-time job.
Yeah, we appreciate everybody that watch, and this is not an excuse because it takes consistency to develop any kind of following,
Anything.
and and get monetized and all that. We got monetized in 2016 or 17, right? We started 2015. We got monetized in 2017, and that was a whole ordeal. If anybody that's set up a YouTube page,
Ads,
trying to get registered and all that, we went through all that with AdSense. It was recognized, it wasn't recognized, bank accounts, all this other stuff. We finally got monetized. With YouTube, you can't get a disbursement, you can't request pay until you get more than $100, right? So we're tracking. We got to $96 and like 80 cents, and they changed the monetization qualifications. So it went from, I don't know, you had to have 1,000 watch hours or something before, and you can get monetized. They changed it to you have to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. So we had the watch hours, but not the subs. We had a push, got close on the subs. We got like 975 now, and the rules changed before and stop and demonetize all that stuff. So everything that we've been doing for the last 2 years, we've been doing it because we like it, we enjoy it. Like the kids like it, the kids want to get more engaged in it. They kind of want to have their own channel. It's something that brings us together. I like playing with video and editing. I really don't care about being in front of the camera. I would rather like put the stories together behind the camera. Keisha's brother and I are working on some ideas and keeping each other accountable for some things that we want to create. So that's what I want to do. I'm using it as that, and I just want to get better. It's a hobby that potentially may turn into something one day. But yeah. So the point is, we're gonna put videos out when we put videos out. If they appear to be consistent, they'll be consistent. I'm not going to keep making these promises and not living up to it. But we do enjoy it. It's not for anything other than us kind of documenting our story, having something to look back on.
And touch with our families. Like, this is how they see our life.
When we were overseas, I mean, that was really, other than trying to show them what it looked like, because most of our families didn't grow up like traveling per se. It was a way for them to kind of keep up with us, and we, the kids to go back and look at stuff that was a major part of their life. So that's why we do it. So appreciate everybody that's watching this. If you're new,
hey family,
welcome to the family. If you've been around, you've been cussing us out because we haven't. We'll pray
and
for
we
you.
appreciate you guys sending us messages. Like, I've gotten a few messages from people who we know in real life, and just from our channel, checking in and seeing how we're doing, what we're gonna post and stuff like that. So, hey girl, hey guy, hey fam, hey.
Yeah.
Here you go.
We out here. So
We are.
turn your notifications on.
Yeah. All. On all.
Subscribe if you haven't done that. We supposed to say we don't have a thing, right?
No, but
people
he
have
does
cool things. They
with
be like,
his hands up.
boom, bang,
Listen,
bang, bang,
earlier
boom.
today, he was closing out the video, and I did some sort of.
Oh yeah. She getting crazy with it now.
I was like, where did that come
It's like,
from?
hey family, boom.
I've never in my life even
Slap
done
the
that.
bed smile. Slap at the bed smile.
Done that motion.
Yeah. So we'll have no cool thing. We won't have no
Gang. No.
smash the like and all that.
Let us
whatever.
know what y'all would like us.
But please
to
like
do.
and subscribe.
Yeah.
Tell a friend. And watch us every time we post.
Every time.
Even if you don't watch, just hit play and go do whatever you gotta do. Just do that.
There's no ads. There's no ads.
Yeah. Speaking to existence,
Right
at
now.
some point this may have ads. If you're watching this in 2020, it may not have ads, but if you're late to the game and it has an ad, just watch it. It don't cost you nothing. Just watch it.
Are you ready?
Just me and my lady, with our babies. All this love between us is amazing. There's amazing.